Hello everyone, welcome to our Q&A session. Today we're going to talk about why we're on earth. Allah knows all of our sins, He knows our fate, and He knows whether we're going to go to paradise or hell. So why would He put us on earth to test us? Let's start off with this analogy. Let's say there's a teacher. This teacher has two students, student A and student B. The teacher knows that student A is going to pass the class and student B is going to fail it. So he goes up to these students and says, I know how you're going to perform, so you don't have to take the class. Student A, you can go on to the next class, and student B, you're going to be held back. How do you think they're going to react? How would you react? Well, if you're student B, you're going to protest and say, I at least want a chance to prove my potential. Maybe I can pass the class. And if you're student A and you're an overachiever, you'd say, maybe I can ace the class. Maybe I don't even have to just pass it. So the teacher says, okay, you guys can take the class. And at the end of the semester, student B fails. And student B goes up to the teacher and says, I only failed the class because you knew I would. The teacher says, no, you didn't fail the class because I knew you would. I knew you would fail the class because you failed. My knowledge of you failing doesn't affect your work ethic, your studies. You can't blame my knowledge for your ignorance and your laziness. I only knew what would happen, and you had the opportunity to change that reality. Now let's connect this analogy back to our relationship with Allah. Imagine if Allah took us right before we were born and said, I already know if you're going to go to hell or paradise, so I'm not going to give you a chance on earth. I'm just going to put you either in hell or paradise. How would we react? Well, if we're going to hell, we'd say, we at least want a chance to prove our potential. Maybe we can do good in the world. Maybe we can get into paradise. Just like student B. Or for like student A and we're an overachiever, would say, maybe I can do so many good things in the world that I'm going to get into highest levels of paradise instead of just regular paradise. So what happens here? The same answer that the teacher gave us. We do not fail or pass this test on earth because it's written in our fate. It's written in our fate because we either fail or pass. Allah's knowledge of our fate doesn't truly affect our fate. Rather, our fate affects His knowledge. You have to think of this in a flipped perspective. Let me give you that flipped perspective an example. We know the sun rises and the sun sets at certain times of the day. I get my notebook and I write down, the sun is rising, and when it's coming to nighttime, I'd say, the sun is setting. Is me putting my knowledge in my notebook the reason why the sun is rising and setting? No. If I wrote down on my notebook, the sun is rising, but there are times when it doesn't want to rise. Would there be a day when the sun doesn't rise? No, obviously not. The sun doesn't rise and set because I said so. I said so because the sun rises and sets. That's the flipped perspective. We have to keep three things in mind, which are key. Firstly, the creation of humans is the reason why there's a test. Secondly, the creation of humans is the reason why there's worship. Worship gives heaven and hell its qualities. And lastly, and the most important, when the day of judgment does come, and all of our good deeds and bad deeds are shown to us, we're going to be so shocked at how incredibly fair Allah was to us. Because if He really did take us before we were born and told us, I know if you're going to go to hell or heaven, then we'd protest and say, there's no justice here. But He's giving us this chance on earth right now as we stand. So there's pure fairness going on. We just don't realize it right now. We're going to see it in the day of judgment. If all these analogies are still a little shaky, then let's make it really simple. let's say I'm an architect. I have this design for a building that's going to be built tomorrow. And I tell all of the construction workers, there's no need to build it. I already got the blueprint. I put my knowledge on there. It's fine, you don't have to build it. You see where I'm going with it? I know what I'm going to have for lunch tomorrow. So, you know what? I don't have to have the lunch tomorrow. I have the knowledge in my head. See how it doesn't make any sense? Overall, the answer to the question is knowledge doesn't truly affect a result. Allah may have knowledge of our fate, but that's just to prove that He is the one independent God. And we do have the choice to do anything we want. And that's proof that we have free will. But what's really important is that free will, whether we choose to do good or bad, the important thing is that it's our choice. And Allah knows our choice, but He doesn't affect it.